Chad Frankenfield, how are you, my man?
Good. How about you?
I am great.
The enthusiasm is very real. Now Justin's sick right now. It's fantastic.
I'm hydrating with soda. It has not been a good day.
That's funny.
Yeah, white soda, that's it, because everything else will come back. Anyways. When do we start? Did we start already? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm not in it.
Yeah, we started already.
Oh, okay, well, cool. You're first, Chad, so obviously, tell me a little bit about this season in general for Elite, some of the changes that are being made, the point structure, the car, obviously, stuff like that, and then we'll get into you personally this coming season after you get through with that.
Yeah. So, obviously this season we're using the Xfinity car, which is exciting. I think it's a new chapter for us. We started out running just the street stock a couple years ago, then worked our way up to the truck. We had a couple seasons in the truck, and I thought that was pretty successful. Um, and we're jumping up to the Xfinity car. So as far as the owner end, I guess I'll start with the owner side of it. We JoinAPS is on board again, which is fantastic. We have a really good partnership with them, Chris Young. I'm very thankful that they're willing to come on board with us. And every season it seems to grow a little bit more with their involvement. They're also sponsoring me in the three wide truck series, and they're also sponsoring you in our series here when you run your starts. So yeah, they're sponsoring the series. They're going to put up some prizes throughout the year mixed in. Gateway Motorsports Park is on board as well for our championship race. They're going to give the winner a plaque, also a track prize pack, which is pretty. So this season we're introducing a new championship format. Pretty exciting. I'm very happy with what we got put together here. I think it's something that hasn't been done yet. I haven't really seen it before. I think it's gonna create excitement all throughout the season. I think you can't really take a race off anymore. It's gonna force guys to get up on the wheel and really go after it. But it's also going to reward drivers who are consistent and are willing to just points race, because with this format, there's no more winning in. I mean, you win, you're not locked in. You'll still get some playoff points, but you won't get locked in. The playoff points will be given to obviously the winner and then guys who finish in a certain position. So we have a 20 race season, 16 race regular season. So what we did was we took those 16 races and broke it in half. So it'll be 8 races and 8 races with one drop in each half. So if a guy misses a race, they shouldn't be affected too much. And basically, it's like its own little mini season. So it'll be 8 races. The top 4 in the points in the first half will get playoff points. 10 for the winner, third for second for third, 2 for third, and then 1 for fourth. Not for drivers are locked in the playoffs, so you get locked in. So it's going to reward consistency as well. But those top 4 drivers will have the first 4 spot playoffs. And we're going to that point back to 0. Whole is it better now? Can you hear me? Is it any better?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Room's pretty rough with the. So where do I need to? Where was the last thing you heard? Okay, so I started talking about the championship format. Did you guys hear any of that? Okay, so basically, first half of the season, first half of the regular season, the top 4 points will get playoff bid. The second half, the points will be reset back to 0 for 8 races. And the way that's going to work out is, let's say I finished 4th or 3rd in the first half. Well, I already locked my playoff spot in, so what's going to happen is that bid is going to go to the next driver who isn't locked in. So you could finish 6th in the second half and get a playoff bid. I'm still going to get those playoff points, but they're going to get the bid along with 1. So what it's going to do, again, is going to reward consistency. It's going to reward guys that are points racing. So from the first half and the second half, it's going to lock 8 drivers. With that, there's going to be 4 spots up for grabs, and those 4 spots are going to be given to the 4 drivers that have the most points from the first half and the second half. So that's going to reward guys that show up, guys that are consistent, guys that are just making sure they're finishing races. So that'll be the 12 playoff drivers. The playoff round is only going to be 1 round. It's going to be 3 races, top 4 advance. So it's going to be really intense. It's going to put a extra emphasis on getting playoff points, making sure that they're finishing races, winning races, and the top 4 in that playoff round will be in the championship race. The playoff round will be a win and in. So if you win a race in that playoff round, you're in the championship race. So again, it's kind of confusing how it's set up. I think drivers will get the hang of it once the season starts. But we've tried a full season points, we've tried a playoff round points, and I think this is just something different. Like I said, it's going to make all 20 races super important. I mean, there's not going to be a race where you can just take a race off. It's going to be a full on competition, awesome, exciting racing. I think every week.
All right. Things there, Chad. So I'm just going to ask you to break down a couple things that I think are the most important, or the things that some of the viewers would be most interested in as far as this coming season. Firstly, if you don't mind, could you just go over some of the highlights from the last 3 seasons, some of the action points, some of the the bigger moments that you and I still think of in Vic, that having been a part of this for almost 2 years now, that we still remember those races and are like, that was just a great race. And then after that, can you just go through some of the highlights, as well as some of the things that you think will be the same and different moving from the trucks to the Xfinity car for next season?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, all the way back to the Street Stock Series, me as a driver, I've really developed, I think, over the last couple of years, to where that first season, I felt like I was quick. I was fast, but just things that was just not good with experience, like restarts. I threw restarts away. Pit stops. I mean, everything was just off. I wasn't doing a good job with running the outside lane on tracks. I wasn't managing tires. And one of the moments I do remember is actually getting into you and you spinning out at Phoenix, because fortunately that led to my first win. I think there was about 15 laps to go in the race. And I'll never forget that after the race, you were very calm. You didn't freak out. You didn't, it was. I appreciated it that you had enough respect in me to know that, like, okay, that wasn't something Chad does. I mean, he's not going to dump me, so that was a mistake. And then the second truck season, really, I mean, it just the final race at Homestead was pretty exciting. I was 3rd, you were 2nd in the race, and Adams was leading, and I was able to get to your bumper, but with Adams right in front of you, I couldn't slide job, so it was like I was just trying to force you into a mistake, which didn't work, obviously, and I wasn't going to dump you or get into it for the win. But I looked at that as a pretty defining moment, because, again, it was another race where, when I look at you, for example, you're a higher end iRacer, and that was one of the first times I was like, okay, maybe I can race with the top guys on here. And then last season was really a season where I kind of finally felt like I arrived on iRacing. I was beating guys. I was faster than a lot of guys on a weekly basis. Obviously, there were some tracks where guys were a little quicker, but I felt very good about it. Last season, I mean, was just phenomenal. I mean, I think from week one all the way through Gateway, the championship was never clearly taken over by anybody. And I looked at it, and I mean, if Adams doesn't lag out of a race or two, and Levi's there, I mean, we're talking. And if Adams again has some luck, I mean, we're talking a four-way battle going into that final race at Gateway. I mean, it was just a crazy season, and it was to be able to beat Levi and a lot of guys that are just up front. I mean, it was pretty crazy. It was remarkable. The competition last season was just phenomenal. I think I talked to Vic and you guys about it. I mean, our first truck season and really our street stock, I think we maybe had one or two A-class drivers on the truck side, maybe a couple. Last season, it was 95% of the field was A-class drivers. And I was really proud of that, and I think it showed with the quality of racing. I think our yellows were cut in half as far as caution laps and things like that. With the Xfinity car, again, this field we're putting together is going to be packed. We got guys all over the place coming in for this series. We got over 30 guys confirmed, ready to go, paid, paint schemes done, ready to show up at Daytona next week. I mean, it's going to be wild. I mean, it's going to be really wild. There's going to be a lot of question marks because there's going to be a lot of guys that are new that people don't really know much about. I don't really know much about. But, it's going to be a feeling out process for sure. I expect Daytona to be a freaking madhouse. It's going to be very chaotic. It's going to be crazy. But then after that, we're going to start to get into the bulk of the season. We got some mile-and-a-halves where those races tend to get strung out a little bit. So I expect the field to really open up a little bit once we hit those mile-and-a-halves. I'm excited with the fact that the Xfinity package for real life isn't changing compared to the Cup side. So, we're going to have a little more power. We're going to have that low downforce. I mean, I ran a race last night at Charlotte for the first time in the Xfinity car. I don't run the Xfinity car much, and I ran it yesterday, and it was a blast to be on the edge like that every lap. So it's really, it's going to produce some exciting racing, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think, like I said, I think we got a really stout field put together. And I'm hoping we can put on a good show for you guys in the booth, so you guys don't fall asleep up there. But I'm just looking forward to it on that end.
Yeah, like you said, I think the whole season is going to be a little bit of a shakeup. Like you said, we have 30 plus cars that are going to be running in hopefully a lot of these races, but for sure some of them, which is going to be great, and it's going to give us plenty of things to watch from battles for first, second, and third, all the way through battles for like 20th, because those points are going to get you in the chase at the end of the regular season there. A little bit about you now, Chad. I know that I'm going to put my own tidbit out. You run a lot of Indy cars and the official stuff, and I've been keeping an eye on you, and you've been increasing that I rating, like you said, obviously building skill level, building packages, trying new things, and obviously last night in the 3YDD series, so there's their plug. You won at Charlotte, so obviously you're becoming more comfortable in this iRacing thing, more comfortable in the Xfinity Series car. So tell me a little bit about what you have going on this season, your paint scheme, your sponsors, stuff like that, and then your expectations for the coming season.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, my I rating's starting to come up. A lot of it has to do with just making sure you get lucky and avoid wrecks. Typically, if I can avoid a wreck, I'm going to finish in the top 5. So that I rating is going up, and I'm hoping to shoot for that 4,000 I rating soon. Yesterday was the first time again outside of Elite where I won the 3-wide IndyCar championship. I ran a fuel IndyCar race the other day and felt very competitive. I was leading a lot of that last half of the race. But on the Xfinity end, I stock car end, I never really competed in another series outside of Elite, and to be able to be competitive and win the race there. And there was some fast guys there. Jordan Teal, Joshua Adams was one of our guys. So I feel really confident. I think, the more I race, the more I'm getting better, and I feel like finally, like I said, becoming a top competitor on the track. So on that end, like I said, Auto Club was a real, again, eye-opener for me, where, you were in the race and I was going lap for lap with you, and times even pulling away a little bit. I mean, I felt finally like, again, if I can compete with guys like Justin, I can compete with anybody. And I'm just glad that you're in the booth and not on the track all season. But other than that, I mean, I'm expecting to get to Gateway. I mean, I think anything less from myself is going to be a disappointment. That's really what I'm shooting for. I'm going to try to. I think the strongest thing I have is I'm very consistent with finishing races and keeping the car together and getting top fives, and I think that's what's going to reward drivers, especially in the regular season. So if I can just, rack up those playoff points, maybe get a win or two going into that playoff round, hopefully I can get through that. The playoff round is going to be freaking nuts, though. I mean, 3 races, 12 drivers. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be very exciting. On the owner end, I'm really glad. We us as officials, we hammered out the rule book a little bit, so it's a lot more definitive. It's a lot more black and white as far as this is the rule, this is the ruling, this is your penalty. So I think that's going to help us a lot. I think it's going to help drivers because now there's a clear rule book for them to look at. And it's important to know for drivers in the series that, like me personally, if I'm involved in something, that's going to go to you guys to review. I'm not going to have anything to do with that. And I've said this before, between NASCAR Heat, Project Cars, iRacing, our officials are harder on me than anybody else. So I'm usually the first one to get something. So it's going to be very unbiased on that end. So that'll probably come into play, and hopefully it doesn't come into play. But if it does, then I'll take whatever it is. But Brian's lawn care is on the car again. We're running Ford Mustangs. I'm really excited about. Couldn't run the Ford in the truck, so we're running on this end. Really, I just want to get another championship for Rebel Racing. Levi's been a huge help. He said he's been a huge help with me, on the iRacing end, getting up to speed. And like I said, I'm hoping him, Kyle, Rusty. I'm hoping one of us can rack up some wins this season, and as a team try to take home that team championship as well, which we'll have. So.
Yeah, sorry, it's kind of hard to understand when you're not talking when you're talking. But anyway, so just very quickly, Chad, obviously myself have circled Atlanta, the Roval, which is the first time we'll be going there, and Circuit of the Americas, the first time we'll be going there as the tracks to participate in, because I think they're going to be nuts and fit a little bit in my strong suit. And I'm sure you feel a little bit the same way about the road courses. But if you, like I said, have like 1 or 2 tracks that you have circled for this year where it's like, if you don't win or at least have a shot at it, it's not a good night, what would those be for this season?
I mean, when I look at the first half of the season, I would probably say Auto Club. Auto Club seems to be a track I do really well at, either whether it's in a league or on the official lobbies. So I think that's going to be a race I'm going to circle on the calendar. In the second half, maybe Dover, Pocono for sure. And that's going to be a race. I'm definitely going to. That's my home track, so I'm definitely going to go after that. Code, I mean, the road courses are going to be tough. I mean, especially if you're running in those races, it's going to be hard for me to expect to win. But I expect to be top 2, 3 if I can just finish the race. And that's the biggest thing, is just running laps and keeping the brakes on the car and finishing. So I think, I'm really looking forward to the road courses. That's like my favorite thing I do. That's what got me into sim racing. So I'm looking forward to getting on the road course, especially a track that Cup cars or Xfinity cars probably don't belong, Dakota. I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. The playoff round, Watkins Glen again is a track I'm going to circle, because obviously that's another home track I have that I really like to. But Lucas Oil seems to treat me really well, no matter what car I'm in. So I'd probably have to say Lucas Oil too would probably be a track I'd like to win at. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the season. I think it's going to take a lot to be a champion. You're going to have to be good on short tracks, road courses, 1.5 miles. Yeah, so I guess I'm just looking forward to it.
All right, Chad, we appreciate you coming by and giving us the lowdown, obviously, as the league owner and the driver of number 15, Brian's Lawn Care Ford Mustang in this upcoming season. Chad, thank you for coming by, and we'll see you for the rest of the season.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you guys for doing everything you do. Thank you, Vic, for all the graphics and things like that. And without you guys, we wouldn't have anything. Last season we had 20 or was probably 19 races um, with the All Star race, and Vic broadcasted all but one. That was something that was huge on our end to have a broadcaster we can rely on. So thank you guys for doing what you do, and looking forward to Daytona. Have a good night, guys.
Chad. All right, Jason Cameron, Justin Krasneski, have you got me?
Oh, I gotcha.
Obviously, nice to meet you. First of all,
You as well.
we have not talked. I appreciate it. You are brand new to the Elite iRacing series. A little bit about what we do up here. Just call the races, obviously, talk interview, stuff like that. Myself being a two-time champion of the league, and Vic obviously having run basically all their races until stepping into the broadcast booth. Sorry, with me this past season. Before we get rolling here about yourself, what are you looking forward to in this coming up season, and what's your background on iRacing a little bit?
So I'm pretty much just looking forward to just getting the experience, racing with the same guys every week. I really haven't had that. I raced in the Real Sim Racing League about a year ago. That was pretty fun. I only did probably 3 or 4 races with them. But it's just going to be nice racing against people every week, the same guys, get to know the guys, and learn how everybody races. I started iRacing in 2015, and I took a little break for a year, came back, and it was probably one of the best things I ever did because I came back and started winning all the time. So
That's what you need. Everything else doesn't really matter. So no, yeah. So obviously this season you're going to be running in the Xfinity cars. What kind of car manufacturer you're running, sponsors, stuff like that, and how much seat time do you have in these Xfinity cars?
so I don't run the Xfinity car too often. Pretty much I run the Class A lot. I drive the Chevy Camaro. That's new this season. I switched over from Ford from last season. But I got actually my grandfather's trucking company as my sponsor, Cameron Trucking. And then I got a few other guys that will be on board, select races throughout the season. A buddy of mine runs a landscape company called Soulscape, so I'll be running his sponsor. For Ocean, they're an organization that pretty much cleans the oceans out and saves the ocean. And then I have another sponsor, Burnett's Heating and Gas Fitting, who I actually work with. So those are the 4 main sponsors that'll be on the car this season.
It's fantastic. We look forward to seeing them on track. You've looked through the schedule, I'm sure. Do you have a couple tracks that you have circled as tracks that you hope to run well at, have extra seat time at, something like that, where you hope to, shine a little bit more than maybe a track that you're unfamiliar with?
It's pretty much, I like Richmond. Richmond's one of my favorite tracks. I love racing that racetrack. It's just fun, especially once the line on that track moves up to the middle of the track. It's fun because you can kind of come up and get under people off the corners. So that's one that I have circled. I also like the Roval. I raced the Roval a lot when it was on the official races with the Xfinity car. I raced it a lot, and that track's so fun.
All right, so Jason, just to wrap up quickly here, if you had to tell us one thing about you and your sim racing career or a goal for the season, something like that, what would it be for the people that are watching tonight?
Well, pretty much it's just, my goal is just to stay consistent through the whole season, not necessarily, winning every single race, just, stay top 10, stay consistent, don't get into people and just, run your race. That's the biggest thing. And, I want to say thank you to the people that have pretty much supported me, through my iRacing career as far as it's since 2015. Especially a shout out to my girlfriend. She's a big supporter of mine. And then I got all the guys at work. They'll come on. I go live on Facebook, and they'll go on and watch, which is pretty cool. And pretty much just the goal of the season is just to stay consistent. Just be there in every race and see what happens.
All right, sounds good, Jason. We appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you on track this season. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate it.
All right, let's grab Shane in here. I'm excited. I think Shane's going to have some hot takes for us. Shane D. Mantova Dodova Lova. Do you got me, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Welcome, obviously, to the booth tonight. We've seen you in a couple of three wide. I'm sorry, elite starts in the past. We saw you at Talladega. Ran very well at Talladega before a late accident, obviously. But hoping to run full time, I assume, in the Xfinity car. Yes.
Yes, sir. We are going full year this year, and I'm gonna try to run as much as I can, as this is a very fun series I feel to run in, and a bunch of good guys in here.
All right. So obviously, we hope to see that Green Star car out on track. I think that Vic is sponsoring you, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. We are actually sponsored by Double Seven Productions, you guys, for this year, and so we'll have them on the whole entire season, and yeah, so fun stuff.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to rig it so that you win every race, get interviewed every week, and you're the grand champion and the best driver in the whole series. That's not named me. So that's what's up.
We're not going to do that because that's funny, but we're not going to do that. But you know what? I was thinking today, and something that was heavily requested last season, and I think I'm going to do it this season, is we're going to do in-race reporters. And Shane, this is me offering it to you for race 1 at Daytona. If you want to be the in-race reporter next week, you're more than welcome to.
But I'm gonna be racing.
Yeah, you can be the in-race reporter from In the Car, pal.
Oh yeah.
Just like
Oh,
Paul
I thought you
Ewing
meant
during the
I'm
race.
interviewing people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
Yeah, you get my job, yeah.
Yeah, you get Justin's job when he's in the car, because he'll be the in-race reporter for his 3 or 4 races that he's doing.
Yeah, but yeah, I'd love to do that.
All right, good stuff. All right, Justin, go on.
All right, awesome. So we got that just settled. We're sitting up here trying to decide what the heck we wanted to do all season, but there we go. So at least we got one race down. So one race will be good. The rest are probably still going to be up in the air and terrible. But anyways, so a little bit about yourself, Shane. Expectations for this season, a little bit about your car and your sponsor we kind of touched on briefly, and then something else that you're looking forward to this season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a fun year for first time in the series, and yeah, I'm mostly looking for between or top 10 for each race. And yeah, for car this year we have Double Seven Productions, you guys coming on, sponsoring the whole season, and as a secondary sponsor we have everybody at Green Source.
All right, so there you have it, folks. There's the guy you gotta watch out for, and I'm sure we'll be talking to him next week at Daytona, at least once, probably a couple of times, because Daytona, go to Daytona if it was anything like last night. So we'll just leave that there.
Yes.
But yeah, just shh. Anyways, Shane, I appreciate you stopping by. Very quickly before we let you go, what are realistic expectations for you this season? Like, is it win 2 or 3 races? Is it make the chase? What are you looking for this season as a driver?
Looking to make the chase. Definitely want to look out for me on plate tracks. I love plate tracks, and I feel like that's my best opportunity to win. And yeah, so hopefully making it into the final round of the chase. But hey, you could dream.
Of course, man. Appreciate you stopping by, and we look forward to seeing that number 20 car on track. And thank you for stopping by tonight, and we'll see you next week at Daytona.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this.
All right, I think we should take another break quick and figure out if Levi's going to stop by, and then we'll be back.
All right, so we're back, and I'm just gonna ask Justin because he's gonna do like what are you doing? 3 or 4 races, Justin?
3 races, yeah.
You're doing 3. So like obviously you undisputedly like the best driver ever to race in this league. Let's be honest, okay? Like not sucking your, yeah, but undisputedly you are the best driver that's ever hit this league and maybe ever will. So what are you actually looking forward to in your 3 starts this season?
Yeah, just the goal of coming back and doing some races, and I thank yourself and Chad and everybody for letting me do that. When I decided to not drive last season, it was more because everything I could have wanted to accomplish or been a part of had been checked off. A couple championships, a lot of race wins, a lot of good runs, a lot of hard racing, and I checked all those off in the trucks and the street stock. But the Xfinity car is my favorite car, and having the opportunity to do that and run a couple of races even just to get a feel for it and have everybody else I guess to kind of have a gauge as what a good run looks like, especially a place like Atlanta. The 3 races I'm going to run are Atlanta, the second race of the season, which I think is a couple weeks after that, and then Circuit of the Americas, which I think is in the second half of that regular season. So we're just going to be out there a couple times with the JoinAPS Toyota Camry number 4. I get my number back. Thank you, Jesse. And the biggest thing is, like I said, just going to be getting seat time, getting back in the car, and hopefully having a little fun. Obviously, not running for points and picking those 3 races. I expect to, like I said to Chad, at least have a shot to win all 3 of them, and that's kind of the goal. Go out there, have some fun, mix it up with the guys, and hopefully let them know that I don't really have a lot to lose in this deal. Obviously, so I mean, maybe I'll be a little bit lucky if it comes down to a last lap and I got dived in there and they're running for points. Maybe they'll just get out of my way, but it's unlikely. But the goal is just to have a little bit of fun and get back and run a car that I really enjoy running with a lot of guys that I've known and enjoy running with.
Yeah, you're lucky you actually get to start races, whereas I have to just sit here every week.
I mean, you're more than welcome to run, but it would be really bad broadcasting with a black screen.
It would look really weird.
I mean, we'd have to have the camera upside down.
We have Levi on. We can pull him in here now.
We'll put Levi in here real quick. Levi Zielinski, Justin, you got me?
Yep, I got you.
All right, Levi, obviously you're not new to this league. We've talked to a couple guys that are new to this, or at least are, relatively new. But obviously you're not. So you've run basically as long as Elite's been a thing. Obviously the Super Late Model Champion from this past summer, I believe that was, end of the summer. And we're one of the contenders for the Truck Championship last year. So moving on forward to this Xfinity car, first of all, tell me about what you're looking for out of the season, some expectations, how you expect to run, and stuff like that that you're looking forward to now that we move from trucks to Xfinity.
Yeah. I enjoy the trucks, or I mean the Cup car or the Xfinity car a little bit more than the trucks, just because you can handle the car a little bit better and you kind of got more throttle play with it. So it's not really a straight shoot and go. It's more of throttle control and keeping to it. So that's kind of the nice thing about this. So you can kind of see who can handle the car better and who can't. Honestly, I think the Xfinity is probably one of the best NASCAR cars. Besides, actually, I would probably say it's best over Cup and truck, just for that simple fact. This season I'm kind of looking towards. I still want to run up front. I think we can still get a top 5 finish out of the whole lane. So it should be pretty interesting to see and all that. And I think we don't have any commitments really that are gonna kind of affect us. So I think we should have a good season.
Yeah, obviously we expect you to run up front, have a lot of experience, but tell us a little bit about your car. Chad talked briefly about your team a little bit, if you want to talk about that, and then what you guys have lined up as far as sponsorship for this season on your cars.
Yeah. So same team, pretty much as last year. It's me, Chad, and Rusty. Potentially looking at a 4th guy. Not really sure. Zimmer is out of it just due to some possible. So unfortunately, he will not continue, which kind of sucks. But we are going to a 4-man team, obviously, with the new rule change. 4th person hasn't been decided as of yet. Chad's going to continue to run the Brian's Energy. Our Brian's Lawn Care Service, and then Rusty Cable is going to be running the Sun Energy. I have not decided what I'm going to run yet. My paint scheme has actually, I haven't even started because I've had prior commitments to do. With being the 97, I am leaning towards doing a Sharpie scheme. with kind of a cool different color that I've probably never put on my car before. So I think it should be an interesting scheme to do. But I may lean towards something different because I am kind of tired of running the same sponsors since I've probably ran iRacing 3 years ago.
On deer.
John Deere? No. Green and
well,
yellow
okay.
is not a fan.
Well, you're on the inside. Who cares? No. Yeah,
No.
just about that. Your very bright colored race cars, usually with the speed energy cars that we occasionally see, Sharpie cars, etc. But this season is, going to be a little bit different with the chase format and how you qualify, stuff like that. But what are you looking forward to? And maybe what you're not looking forward to is this upcoming season versus stuff that we've done the trucks in the past.
I'm kind of looking forward to more of getting to the road courses a little bit more. I think we have definitely stepped up our road course game in the past about a year, I'd say. Just by doing EMSA and a lot of these endurance races, I think has really helped us own in on the endurance or on the road side of things. So I feel like we should be a strong contender on the road side if Trevin decides to show up, and obviously if Justin races all of the road courses. I think we're able to at least compete with them. May not necessarily get a win, but I think we can definitely finish in the top 3 at a road course, and I think that's pretty exciting for me personally.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we've seen you run some of the enduros and that Porsche RSR and stuff like that. So I'm sure you've stepped up your road course game, and I look forward to driving away from you in the rearview mirror at the Roval. No, but no. As far as the whole season goes, do you have a couple tracks? I know you touched on the road courses, but do you have a couple tracks you're looking forward to from a win spectate? I asked Chad about this. If there's a couple tracks that you said, if we don't win here tonight, or at least have a shot to win and have it taken away, that it's not a successful night just based on my past there.
Is it kind of bad if I haven't looked at the schedule?
No, because I couldn't tell you either. But
yeah.
So you could
Obviously,
you can look on the website. You can actually look at the stream right
Oh.
now. I mean, I'm on top of my game for tonight.
yeah,
Hold
wow,
on,
there it
give me a
is.
minute.
Okay.
Anyways, obviously you guys know from past experience, I'm really good at short track racing, so I would say under a mile, I think we definitely have a chance to win. I'm not saying everyone, but like if Phoenix is obviously gonna be one. We just ran and we won in the truck series, so that was a good one for us. Bristol has always been a really fun track for me, and I actually really enjoy it because it's a lot about basically rolling in and rolling out of the corner, and a lot of people just don't understand that aspect of it. So that's another one I look forward to, and honestly, I look forward to tracks like Pocono and Indy because they are a little bit more braking and it takes a little bit more finesse in that style of track. So those are also ones. And Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil is the one I've always ran good in, and I like how it's kind of a higher groove track.
So when you say higher groove, you mean like you hit the wall every time and that's fast, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's like my favorite part of this game is like that. There's actually multi grooves in that I can actually run the high side like Kyle Larson and hit the wall and still be decent.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Just quickly before we let you go, Levi. Just to recap about your time in the league, what you think about some of the development that we've seen from drivers and the tracks and the chase and stuff like that from the first season that you've ran till now, this coming season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has changed. I kind of thought I would love the whole format of a full length season with no playoffs and no anything with just 2 drop weeks, but honestly, that's tough. I was very surprised by the outcome of having almost 4 guys in contention to win a championship at the end of it. So, I mean, that was kind of cool to see last year. They've always done something different every year. I think the truck season before we did a chase format, and the racing back or it was yellow flag at halfway. I mean, so halfway points, all that. So we're always evolving and always changing stuff up to better the league and kind of better grasp what the drivers want necessarily. So we kind of take their opinion into it and feel like what would create the best racing. So this whole 2-season format and then a playoff is kind of interesting aspect on it because I mean, if you have a bad first part of the season, it doesn't necessarily affect you. You know what I mean? You get a second chance in the second part. So that's kind of the cool thing about it is that it may help out somebody that may have struggled in the beginning, but will help them pay off in the second part. So I think that's the kind of cool thing that is going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I guess when you bring that up, it kind of brings some thoughts to my mind. So I'm going to ask you this question that I wasn't going to, but you made a good point of it. If you could change one rule or one thing about the league, one format, anything like that, that would either you think help you out personally or make the racing better or the season better, anything like that, what would that be as far as just one change you could make?
It's kind of hard, because like I did say about the whole what we're doing this year is I think it's a double-edged sword. I hope I don't see this with the amount of people that we have, but I don't want to see people get in the first part and then not show up for the second part of the season. I kind of hope that doesn't happen. If that doesn't necessarily happen, I think there needs to be a rule change regarding that.
There is. You get
Okay, thank
you get
God.
extra playoff points for winning in the second half.
Okay, good.
So
I
there's,
mean,
there's still that initiative to show up.
yeah, initiative, but there's no, you know what I mean?
Well,
Like
there's no
I think
penalty
if,
for it, but you're not going to penalize
Yeah.
somebody for not showing up. That'd be weird.
yeah, yeah, it's just kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to that. The one thing I think I'd like to see though is going back to the old chase format when it very first came out is just a whole 10 race season and or 10 race chase, and that's what you got. I think that was more interesting, honestly.
I would love
I
to
agree.
do a full year season, like from freaking February to November. I'd love to see.
Yeah.
That's what my idea of a good league and schedule would be.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting to do. Like you said, a full ranked season, and I would like to do the old chase format. Just I
Yeah,
don't
dude, for
necessarily like the one chase or the one playoff race that either decides you're a champion or not, because I don't think that's what a champion is that can run good at Homestead. I
No.
think a champion is somebody that can run good at every single type of track, short, long, super speedway, quarter mile, cookie cutter, roval, anything.
I agree. I think we had that in the street stock season, and that went pretty well. Although I am slightly offended with both of you for the whole, just because you can run good at Homestead doesn't mean you should be a champion. No. But yeah, as far as the whole season goes, I mean, we kind of touched on this briefly, but what are your actual expectations? I mean, obviously, being the Super Late Model champion, we came in the last year with you being one of the guys that we had circled, and obviously you had a shot right up until the end of that gateway. But do you think that's going to change? Do you think you're better than Chad in the Xfinity car, or have something up your sleeve a little bit that you can try to get that second championship here this season?
I think it's hard to say. Like, I'm not better than Chad, and Chad's not better than me. I think we drive two different ways, and I think we kind of help each other out on that aspect because I've helped him out, and I know he's helped me out, and racing together. Necessarily, I don't consider the only thing I don't like I feel like sometimes like because I was the SLM champion, and I think everyone looks to me to do well, and I think that sometimes the pressure gets to you when you're considered one of the top guys, and you end up messing up. Like the last season I had, like the last few races, we just had bad luck, and unfortunately, we couldn't do nothing about a lot of the decisions that happened during those races and the events that took place. So it is kind of stressful being that person that everyone expects to run good, but then you end up having a couple bad races, and it kind of gets to your head, honestly. But I think we definitely should be able to finish in top three. I obviously think the top three, if I can call it right now, will be probably me, Chad, and Joshua Adams. I would consider the top three at the end of this.
Oh, Parker Brookfield?
I was saying, don't top five go to the championship race unless I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I have
I'm
no
just
idea.
saying top three in my aspect at the end of the season will be those three, though. I'm not
Just
doing
trying to
top
make
five.
up those brownie points to Adams from Dover. That's what's going on here.
Not really. I think me and Adams have settled our difference over the last year and a half.
Yeah, well,
I still think
race
he
car
races
drivers
too
don't forget.
aggressive at the end, but I don't forget.
100%. No. We'll see how it all turns out. Of course, Levi, I appreciate you stopping by. I'm sure we'll talk to you several times, and I'll see you on track a couple of times this season. But any last words before we get out of here, Levi?
Can we say something offensive or no?
How offensive?
I got 2 words for you.
Oh boy,
Nobody got it.
I got it, but no, yeah. I'm good.
Oh, I can't do that one. All right.
No.
All right.
oh
We got
boy.
nothing then.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, Levi, and I'm sure we'll talk to you probably in the next couple of weeks after a win or two.
See ya.
I love Levi. No. All right. So obviously, this has been the media day. We've seen a lot of cool paint schemes today. Saw the schedule up on screen earlier. I'm not actually sure. I'll check if it's still up there. No, it's not. But so that was up there earlier. If you
Oh, it's
watched
all
and
right,
want to go back and look
put
at
it
that,
back up. Put it back up. Don't worry.
and Vic's gonna put it back up because he's special.
I'm special. Very special. Special
The
cookie.
schedule back up. Yeah, what's the one thing, I guess, Vic, before we get out of here, that you're looking forward to this season, or a change that we have coming up that you would like to see play out in the way it's supposed to, I guess?
You know, a thing I actually, the track, I'm not, okay, so I'll start with, like, the track. The thing that I'm most looking forward to, like, track-wise, I'm really looking forward to seeing how COTA goes. I really think Circuit of the Americas is going to be either really good or really, really bad. And I'm hoping it goes really good, but I got this feeling that it might end up being the opposite, especially with all the off tracks, and probably going to lead to at least 1 or 2 disqualifications because people track cutting and stuff. But that's fine. They'll get caught and everything will be done. And I'm also kind of looking forward to the season format too. Like having 2 halves of the season, then you still have that playoff. Of course, this is the full schedule on the screen. I don't have it split up because I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what races were what. It wasn't specified on the website, and I don't remember. But either way, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I really think it's going to make the first half entertaining, and it should make the second half almost as entertaining. But obviously, you're going to have those people that locked in the first half, locked into the playoffs with that first half. And they're probably not going to push the issue as much in the second half, which could be a good or a bad thing for the league. And then, like, overall-wise, I'm really looking forward just to the season starting. I really am. I think it's going to be a great season. You got new talent in here. You got, new car. No longer they're racing the trucks. Now they have 3 manufacturers instead of 2. And that was brought up. I mean, I think it's going to be a great season. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I love the Xfinity cars, but I think it's going to be a great season.
Yeah, I agree. The Xfinity cars are kind of where I make my living when it comes to the NASCAR side of things. And what you said about the schedule is interesting. I like that. COTA's actually the night before I leave for Ireland, so we're going to have to balls up for that one. And I think it's going to be an interesting race. And we said about the schedule, I think that the end of that second part of the season before we get to the chase, that Charlotte, Iowa, Watkins Glen part of the season, that's going to be where we get to the point that someone is going to get a little bit desperate. I think someone that couldn't make a couple races during one of the seasons or just had some bad luck or something, and they're just desperate to get in there. And we might see some really crazy strategies. I mean, we saw last year at Iowa, Joshua Personette made a fuel mileage gamble and paid off with a win there. And obviously it didn't result in the championship or anything like that, but it was just one of those races that something a little bit unexpected happened, and it was kind of a roll of the dice, and it ended up working out for him. I think we'll probably see something similar when we get down to the desperation part, that second part of the season.
Yeah, and then of course, like Chad brought up in his 20 minutes, not hate on him for it.
Jesus.
But either way, when he brought that up, so another thing you're bringing up also is like Gateway. Like, we're talking about tracks that are going to prove some significance. Obviously, Gateway is going to be the championship race for the second season because it was so good in the trucks. It's hopefully going to be as good in the Xfinity Series. And the partnership with Gateway really helps, having them giving out a plaque and a prize pack to the series champion. It's a great thing, and Chad's done a great job getting that deal done. And then, of course, JoinAPS throughout the season, from what I've heard, is going to be giving out some prizes to winners and stuff, which would be nice. It'd be very, very cool seeing that. Seeing sponsor involvement and track involvement with these, the drivers going to have an actual incentive to do as well and to show up each week. There's going to be a lot for drivers to look forward to.
Yeah, I definitely think that we have a lot of cool stuff lined up here for the Elite Racing League. And what is this going to be, our 5th season, something like that?
I think it's 7th.
4th,
actually.
5th?
It's like 7th.
Not
I
important.
have it on my computer.
It's a lot.
1 second.
Whatever. Point is, so obviously today was media day.
This will be season 6.
There we go. I'm trying to think back, but my brain isn't working right now. Whatever. Anyways, obviously, thank you to all the sponsors of the Elite Racing League. JoinAPS, of course, with Chris coming on board yet again, being the title sponsor. Like Vic said, Gateway for coming on and having that prize plaque for the champion and having our final race there. Some of the other prizes, the other individual race sponsors that'll come up as we get closer through the season. Chad for all the work he does. Of course, Vic for putting on the broadcast tonight. And, of course, every week throughout the season. Everybody that comes out and races, we hope to see full fields. Hope to see many more of those paint schemes come out in the next couple days, and then obviously on track. Thank you for all the guys that stopped by tonight to give us a I'd say a quick word, but we love you, Chad. But that was like 21 minutes. Give us a word about the season, and no, we're gonna lay off Chad because he had to explain the series and everything that's happened. So we'll give it to him. No, but so we will be back next week, next Monday, the 18th, for Daytona. At what time do we start? 7:25 Eastern now.
The league starts 25 minutes later, which means that the broadcast will be like 20-ish minutes later, depending on if they do group qualifying or not, which I highly doubt they're doing.
Okay, so it's
I would love
later.
to see them do it. I mean, it takes the same amount of time. Just want to see it. Give me something to talk about.
So we got 25 minutes later delay. But anyway, so we'll be back next Monday. This has been 3-Wide Media Day, of course. Thanks, Vic, for everything that you do putting these on. I mean, you're the man. So
sure it's been 3-Wide Media Day.
No, it hasn't. It's been Elite Media Day.
I know it's weird being the first ever, but
I was watching their thing yesterday, and that's why.
Yeah, I know.
So Corey, you're welcome for the free promotion.
Twice.
3 times, 4 times. I might say it again yet. Elite Media Day. I promise, Chad. I got you. But like I said, thanks to all the sponsors, all the people that make this happen. Until next week, for Vic Bloom, I'm Justin Krasneski as always. Hope you have a great night.